Recapping our top story, President Obama is refusing to concede any mistakes or miscalculations or to make changes in the administration's strategy to deal with ISIS, even after the attacks that left 129 people dead in Paris Friday night. Let's get the latest on what America is facing from the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, California Congressman Devin Nunes. Mr. Chairman, thanks for being here.
Always a pleasure. Thank you.
You just came from a briefing. What can you tell us about the investigation and what's new?
Well, we are fully cooperating with the French. We are giving them every asset that we possibly have. Our relationship with the French has been very good, especially for the last couple years as they've noticed that this terrorist threat has grown. So they've went out and put a dragnet out, brought in a lot of people. Any feeds or leads that they get that we can be helpful with, we are trying to do it.
You know, the CIA director today said it's likely that ISIS has more things in the pipeline. Any expanding on that? Yeah,
I was surprised that the CIA director said that, but that has been what many in the intelligence community have been saying. When you go back, and we've known this for over a year now, this has been our biggest concern about, number one, the people that are leaving from the West, going there and coming back. Number two, the people we don't know about that are going there and coming back. And number three, getting radicalized either over the internet or through these mosques.
What about here in the U.S.?
The FBI director has said all 50 states have investigations going on. You saw a whole slug of arrests earlier in the summer. The threat is real. The threat is real and the threat is growing.
What about the president today defending his calculation, his characterization of ISIS, defending the administration's strategy?
Well, when you look at what the president has said about his strategy, I don't understand his strategy. I don't know what his strategy is. If you go back to how do we get involved with airstrikes in Syria and Iraq, it wasn't until 2 reporters got their heads cut off. I think people forget this. Then all of a sudden we had a strategy, and it's these small airstrikes, very limited in nature, and then only talking about ISIS as if it only exists in Syria and Iraq, when we know it's all over North Africa. We know now they've rooted themselves in Europe with a command and control structure. They're all the way in Afghanistan and Pakistan. This is a growing network that was built off of Al-Qaeda. And that's a lot of where this disconnect is with this president, is the president has said that Al-Qaeda was gone, decimated, when reality is that ISIS is kind of the estranged brother of Al-Qaeda, and they've just gotten bigger and better and deploying the same tactics that Al-Qaeda was doing.
You know, we did the story about U.S. intelligence analysts coming out and saying, at least privately, that they were feeling pressure from the administration to make the picture of the fight against ISIS a little rosier. In retrospect, does this fit a pattern here?
So I don't want to blame a conspiracy where it may just be pure, utter incompetence. However, if you look at the history of this, I think at a minimum, it seems like the White House is surrounding themselves with a bunch of yes men. Because when members of my committee, on the Intelligence Committee, we go out and visit these countries or meet with analysts, we always get a different picture that is painted for us than what we see in final product that's produced, or in what the president and his advisors are saying on national television. I mean, you can go back from, you know, everything from Benghazi to the latest fiasco with CENTCOM.
A lot of people say, okay, that's all the past. We are where we are now. What would you do differently? And you heard the president, you know, you can't just pop off. You have to come up with an idea. What would you say that we could be doing?
We've given him lots of ideas, especially through the Intelligence Committee, so I'm not sure why he's saying that. First of all, you have to understand and admit that you have a problem. So as I just said earlier, when you're only talking about ISIS in Iraq and Syria, and you're not talking about ISIS in North Africa, whatever strategy you put together has to encompass all of that. So, you know, now that there's been an attack on Europe, I think Article 5 should be invoked by the NATO partners. NATO has to go in big with this, with whatever actions we take. First, I do 2 things to start out with. One is Libya. We should prop up Libya and solve that mess that's been created and is ongoing, because that's where a lot of the fighters are coming from. So that's kind of a cauldron of attacks and people that are ongoing, and those fighters and weapons shift over into Iraq and Syria. Secondly, this is something that the president hasn't been willing to do, even though the Congress has given him the authority, and that is to arm the Kurds. The Kurds are begging for heavier weapons. And why on earth we will not do this? I know the whole issue is always, oh, they mentioned the Turks and Baghdad. Look, we're long past this region ever getting put back together the way it used to be. And so there are specific examples out there of things that need to be done.
And they're not doing them.
And they're not doing any of them. And they're sticking to this strategic incoherence that's led to strategic failure in the region.
All right, I want to ask you about the refugees. 10,000 end of the year, beginning, or fiscal year, I guess, they're talking about. Syrian refugees here. Is that a problem? Can the U.S. do it?
How do you vet them? There's no possible way to vet them. I mean, they have, if they're young men with absolutely no information on them, how do you vet them? Look, I want to be able to take in refugees, but we can't do that right now, especially with the threats that we face, with what you just saw happen in Paris, France. Do we really want that to happen here? And look, I'm not trying to panic the American people, but the intelligence community got this right. The intelligence community said that these attacks were going to happen. And I think what you heard the CIA director say today, that there's more in the pipeline, I think that's very prescient and accurate.
Senator Feinstein, who has, kind of calls it like she sees it, I think, you would say, I have never been more concerned. You?
I said something similar about 4 months ago, that we are at our highest terror threat level since September 11th, 2001.
No doubt in your mind?
No doubt in my mind.
Mr. Chairman, thanks for the time.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, Bret.